It's lag. All righty, welcome in. It is Atlanta Hawks after – wait, wrong show. Sorry. It's SEC After Dark. You guys know what's going on. What's up, guys? It's Rivalry Week. Lots of drama. Lots of people trying to get canceled. If you know, you know. A&M and the Longhorns, they renew a rivalry that's been dead for 12 years. And –
Mac Brown got fired on the anniversary of the last game.
Yeah.
From North Carolina, too.
Yeah. Mac and North Carolina's open, and Glenn Schumann is a candidate.
So is Dan Mullen, which,
that's a really tough choice. So what's going on with North Carolina? Why are they going for Dan Mullen?
I don't know. There's a rumor I had on Mike Huseman on my Tuesday show.
They just
live stream that he was talking about that. He put Lincoln Riley on his North Carolina list, and he thinks he might be looking at a reset because USC is going pretty poorly right now.
Think they're going to run him out of town?
Lincoln Riley?
Dan
Mullen? What are we doing, North Carolina?
If North Carolina acted like a big-time program, they could hire a big-time coach. But basketball runs that program, that athletic department, which means that football is going to get secondary choices. That's just the way this is going to work.
So Lincoln Riley, that seems plausible. Yeah, because there's NFL teams that are interested in Lincoln Riley. I don't know why either, but they're NFL teams.
They don't want to play defense. I mean, I don't know. I thought we already hired Cliff Kingsbury once.
I guess they want to do it again. Maybe the Raiders. I don't know.
Oh my! Of course. Yeah, that would make all the sense in the world.
mean, that's who would do that, right?
Yeah.
So come on, North Carolina. What do we just go after some realistic candidates like Glenn Schumann? Well, why don't we?
That's not a realistic. They need to hire a sitting head coach, a young sitting head coach.
Oh,
go after GJ Kinney.
Right?
Do that. That should be their avenue. They should not be doing retreads at all.
No, or first time head.
Jamie Chadwell made that list as well for Huseman. Chadwell would be interesting.
Okay, I mean, I don't hate that one. That's realistic.
Yeah,
that'd be a good hire actually. So, Tar Heels After Dark. All right, let's do it. These betting lines that we're going to talk about with Steve's parlay that needs to happen. It's like a 9-leg parlay that needs to happen.
It is not a 9-leg parlay. It's only a 3 or a 4-leg parlay, but it does all have. It is a parlay.
It's 5 at the most.
It's a 9-leg parlay that involves 6 conferences in 3 divisions.
You know what? If you look at what Ole Miss needs to go to playoffs, I can see every bit of it happening this weekend. I do not see all of it happening this weekend. It's just one of those things. It's like, yes, I can see Auburn beating Alabama, but I can't see Auburn beating Alabama, Syracuse beating Miami, Vandy beating Tennessee. Any individual, yes, there's an upset there. You're not surprised, but all of them happening. That's where the lottery ticket passing comes.
So why do we need James Madison to win this weekend? I don't know. All right. So all of our betting lines are presented by betonline.ag, your number one source for all of your sports wagering needs. Just about every sport except Major League Baseball is up, but they have it. They have odds on it if you want to bet it. This Thanksgiving, you have it's the most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. They have live betting, which is going to be great tomorrow as you're sitting around nursing your turkey coma. You can live bet some of these really good NFL games like Tommy DeVito versus Cooper Rush.
DeVito's injured; he might not be playing.
Hey, Thursday night should be the Egg Bowl, but I will be watching Memphis and Tulane.
Yep.
Yeah, a big one.
But you can do UFC, NHL, college basketball, NBA, football. Just bet against the Preds and you'll be fine. You can head to the website, today and see why BetOnline is America's most trusted site for online wagering. Plus, they have an online casino. So if you want to get a few hands of blackjack in after all the games are done, have at it. BetOnline, the game starts here.
And it's time to get locked on pickles, everybody. Stewart's Cajun Pickles, that is, they offer a wide variety of Cajun spice products like pickles, green beans, okra, and even carrots and asparagus. It's a family-owned company, homemade on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, they've been pleasing pickle lovers for over 20 years, and they've become the South's favorite pickle. They're truly the best pickles you will ever have. A strong dill flavor with a Cajun punch. No over sour taste. This being a small business, they strive to keep the produce fresh and local from the start, keeping the final pickle product extra crispy and crunchy. You can find these pickle products online at thesepickledstore.com or at your local Rouse's Market, Corner Market in Hattiesburg, and select Winn-Dixies along the Gulf Coast. Be sure to like Stewart's Cajun Dill product on Facebook and Instagram. Try these pickles, okra, or beans today. You'll not be disappointed. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, the South's favorite pickle.
All right. So, got an action-packed show. But first, we must look at the week that was last week, Steve. I know you probably don't want to, but
we're going to talk coaching malpractice. Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, it sets up. It sets up
Everybody was a good week.
We should all just skip this week.
No, it was a great week.
It was a phenomenal week. I mean, Georgia, they gave up 21 points and had a close game into the third quarter with UMass. It's great. Ole Miss, they, I think.
My goodness. It just drives me crazy. And it happens once a year. Whenever the pressure gets ratcheted up in a must-win situation, you have that Alabama 2021 game. You have even the Texas Tech bowl game in 2022. You have the Georgia game in 2023 to where the game just gets called wild. And Ole Miss goes in there acting like an underdog. In this game, they were the favorite. All you needed to do was take Florida out of the game. You had a better team than Florida, and you allowed them to have life and beat you. That has happened to Ole Miss 3 times this year. It is going to cost them the playoff. It has already cost them the SEC championship potentially. It has been a rough season. This Ole Miss team is going to go down in history as being a synonym for the 1990 Michigan Wolverines.
Jeez. Hey, boss man, what your Aggies, man? Really?
Yeah, that's the right way to put it. Really?
Mm-hmm.
I said this on Biscuits and SEC Live, but having been an A&M fan all my life, there have been peaks and valleys, but there have been a lot of times where A&M feels like they're right there, and all you got to do is just reach out and grab it. You've got the moments, you've been given it. A couple times the opposing team has given you the moment to go and seize it, and they can't do it. They can never break that ceiling. And, hey, Auburn kicks you right in the teeth to start out that game, 21-0. And then you come back and you just keep beating on the door. You keep beating on the door. And finally you get that touchdown that puts you up near the end of the game. However, even before that, there were multiple short fields. Auburn's shanking punts off their foot. Auburn gave A&M every single opportunity to go and just take that game and win that game by 2 scores and win 45-28 in regulation, and they couldn't do it. We talked about it last week. Jordan-Hare is an absolute haunted place. It's so difficult to play in. It's on an Indian burial ground, and so it was. Yeah,
it's got to
be tough to watch.
But boss man, I'll tell you, it was like 10 minutes left to go in the Alabama game when I turned it after that third interception. I'm done. I'm going to the Texas A&M and Auburn game. I'll tell you the moment I realized that A&M wasn't going to win that game, and it wasn't overtime. But on the 3rd and 6, you run an option to the short side of the field. I'm like, what are you doing? You never run an option on a short side of the field like that. I was like, okay, that's just over with at this point. I know something freaky is going to happen. End up, Auburn's going to win this game. I just knew it then.
I knew Auburn was going to win the game whenever Mike Elko was asking his pre-week press conference, and he said he was totally concentrating on Texas. I mean, Auburn.
Yeah.
And whenever that happened, everybody knew how this was going to go down.
Yeah.
And also everybody needs to be wary of what could happen Saturday night in Kyle Field, because they are ramped up on that. And that is the most expensive college football game in history. This is a big ticket. This is must-watch television for everybody Saturday night.
Yeah, it's gonna be incredible, man. Like that game with the implications. I mean, A&M still has a shot. The winner of this game gets Georgia somehow, but they get Georgia. Somehow that happened. Was thinking it was just going to be Ole Miss first, the winner of this game, but
no, that did not happen.
That did not happen. So, it's definitely not going to be Alabama either. This season is officially drunk. It passed out on the front yard.
Yeah, no, that was just me last Saturday night.
They had to come in through the window.
What do you think, Jake? Do you call you? Are you calling him Kalen DeBose yet?
I don't know. I'm still kind of indifferent right now because
he mismanaged Milroe. That's all there's to it.
The beginning of the year, though, I talked about from the very beginning, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. If he tried to make Jalen Milroe into Michael Penix, they were going to struggle, and he did it anyway. Right now, this Kalen DeBoer offense, it is a one-trick pony to where they can score on explosive plays, and that is about it.
Because you have an athlete that can throw the ball at quarterback. You don't have a quarterback. You don't have Michael Penix. Michael Penix is
I was going to say, coming from the Joe Milton era like I did, maybe Milroe's just not it, man. It's sad. He's got a lot of talent, but he falls apart in big games. I don't even know if it's even big games. I mean, this Oklahoma game should not have been.
It was freaking Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And as you see, and right down below me here, we let a white boy run 131 yards, who up until that point and played in 8 games because he got benched middle of the season. In 8 games, he only had 238 rushing yards, I believe, in 8 games. And we just let him get 131 in 1 game.
Okay. I'm going to make you feel better right now, Jake. Okay.
Well, somebody needs to.
Yeah,
it's basketball season.
Seth Luttrell, whenever he was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, would not let his quarterbacks run. He would.
That's true. Yep.
So they just draw back in the pocket and try and distribute the ball. Whenever the first game was Oklahoma and Ole Miss, Jackson Arnold retook over the starting job.
Yeah.
Joe John Finley became the offensive coordinator, and
they might as well just
Jackson Arnold ran for 90 yards against Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the quarterback run became something that they could do. He's an athletic kid. He's a good player. I saw him down at the Under Armour All-American game, and I was very impressed by what this kid can do. And he shouldn't have been benched to start with.
No,
I agree.
It should not have been benched to start with. But Oklahoma feels good. They're going to end up in the Liberty Bowl, or, well, I think they have to go to old bowls in whatever conference they were in, or something like that. I know the Pac-12 schools like USC and UCLA has to go to those Pac-12 conference bowls. So,
I know what the Big 12 ones are, but okay.
Yeah, one of them is the Alamo Bowl, probably.
Mm-hmm.
That's a That's a Pac-12. That's a Big 12. The Holiday Bowl, or I don't know what they're calling it nowadays, but that's a Big 12 bowl.
Texas Bowl is another one.
Yeah,
that's SEC Big 12.
Yeah. Vandy versus Oklahoma in that bowl.
Heck yeah.
It's possible. I have to think that the Music City Bowl or Liberty Bowl, they're salivating over Vandy right now.
I agree.
Yeah. I think it's Liberty versus TCU is what I'm hearing. That's like the latest projection.
Yeah, Liberty
playing Vandy.
Sense.
Yeah, Liberty versus TCU for Vandy.
Yeah, I like the Horned Frogs. I like everything about them, really, but they talk so much for such a.
I don't
no offense, boss man, but the Texas schools talk way above what they've done. All of them, everywhere. It's like, you're terrible, you're awful. It's like you look at the records, like you've been to 3 bowl games, and your biggest moment is getting beat by 60 in the national title game. And
he's in the heart of
buddy. Yeah.
Hey, you don't got to get me started on talking down to TCU and the Baylor folks. I'll get on my tangent here, but
and Tech folks are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And my tortillas are downstairs, but I'll go get them if you want me to start chunking those.
Yeah.
Hold, please.
Yeah, pause.
This is going to be interesting to see where everybody ends up in bowl games. So like Texas A&M. I mean, Marcel Reed, like, maybe I jumped the gun on him a little bit.
He didn't jump the gun. He's just a young quarterback.
Yeah,
I did jump the gun. I was a little early on that. I think he still will be a good quarterback.
Yeah,
a little early.
Luckily, and if the college football playoff was consistent, Quinn Ewers, if he missed the game, I think the Texas would have to be out of the top 12, right? And how that works, if the quarterback gets hurt, you lose your spot.
FSU could certainly attest to that.
Well, the loophole is you have somebody with the last name Manning.
Yeah.
But Quinn Ewers said over and over, I'm sure I heard of this football season, he did not need backup.
Right.
He did
I've heard a bunch.
I've heard that a lot.
I really think we ought to, and myself included, give, South Carolina some credit because, I did not expect them to have 8 wins this year.
I mean, Beamer.
Yeah.
Coach of the Year is going to be a fun race, too.
It is.
Because, Beamer deserves it. Clark Lee deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
Clark Lee deserves all of it. To me, it's over.
Maybe Jerry Kill deserves it.
If they had won this last week, got their 7 wins, I would agree.
They're going to get their 7th win Saturday.
They are not. You shut up.
See, what's going to happen, Jeb, is all the Tennessee fans are going to be hungover, and they're going to be in pancake coma from Pancake Pantry. It's an early morning game. It's going to be a weird environment, odd, just weird noise levels because that's what Vandy is at 11 o'clock. Because everybody's hungover from.
Oh, that's going to be a sellout. That one will be a sellout, and they will check her out that stadium.
I hate to tell Vandy this, but this is basically a playoff game for Tennessee. It's going to be bad.
Be careful about that. I said that last week before Ole Miss played Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this actually is. There's no way to overlook them. This is a playoff game. You win, you move to the next round.
Yeah.
At this point, we're win mode.
Ole Miss beats Florida. Ole Miss is 6th in the country right now.
Yeah.
Jeb, honestly, Jeb, like you have an opponent like Vandy who's playing well, but they're, they get beat like they did the last couple of weeks. Are those players like 18 to 22-year-old kids really looking at it like that? You think?
They better be.
Like there's a factor to this. Like 18
be.
to 20-year-old kids don't view the game the way we view the game. They see Vandy as they're sorry. We're going to beat the hell out of them. They're sorry. They're going to come in all overconfident.
I do think that eventually it's going to take a little time to happen. The attitude that the kids have about college sports and the attitude that people that are paying those kids, they're going to combine a little bit. So you're going to see
they will eventually. Yes,
yeah.
It'll eventually have that pro sports mentality, but not right now.
Yeah, it's going to get there, but
not right now, so it's going to
right now they're still in the process of taking advantage of the boosters.
Yeah, and it's going to make for an interesting mindset for Saturday for teams like Tennessee, for teams like Georgia, who's playing against Georgia Tech. It's almost the exact same type of matchup, right? You get a team they got 6 wins. They're just middling a little bit. Supposed to been dominating the series.
But Georgia Tech's played well at times. So, yeah, you just never
Vandy's played well at times. Georgia Tech's played well at times. Both Tennessee and Georgia, these are playoff games for them. Georgia has 2 playoff games ahead of the playoffs. Tennessee only has 1. But Tennessee with a loss, could jump into the SEC championship. So some things could change. So both teams have to take care of business, and both teams – but here's the thing.
Wait, Georgia's looking at it, though. They're still an SEC championship game. So it's not really a playoff game because they win that, they're still in. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. But some things could change.
They want to leave Tennessee out. Tennessee has to win.
It would get real dicey. But
yeah, because we do have prior notion that if Tennessee loses, they're falling behind Alabama and Ole Miss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've already seen that happen.
Oh, I could tell they're already upset they have to put Tennessee in over Alabama at this moment. They definitely won't do it if we have the same record.
They shouldn't.
On the ranking show, they actually did. Alabama has a 0.6 chance of making the playoff with 4 losses. It's like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing?
What are we talking about? Like, why do we have to force feed Alabama into this?
Come on, you're on the payroll at this point. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what's going on. If you have 4 losses and get into the playoff, nobody needs to watch the playoff because it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. If weird things have happened, it gets weird this weekend, and you have some teams losing. You could. It's a very, very small possibility, but you could see South Carolina make a move up in the top.
Well, if they shellac Clemson,
Right.
regardless of what happens, that could get really
It
interesting.
could get really interesting.
Yeah, there's 3 results that matter. South Carolina has to blow out Clemson on Clemson's field. If that happens, they have a real chance to jump Alabama and Ole Miss. If they don't, it's kind of iffy. Ole Miss needs to blow out Mississippi State, and Alabama needs to blow out Auburn.
And that's not going to happen.
If all 3 of those happen, South Carolina's going to sit right where they are.
It is a home game, Jake.
I don't care. I think Alabama is on quit watch. I'm just telling you.
Well, we said that about LSU, and they came out.
I am curious to see what the opt-outs are and the people hitting the transfer portal.
I'm hearing there's
from
like
Alabama.
40 guys leaving Georgia.
Yeah.
There could be up to 40 guys transferring out of Georgia. So
I'm worried about Ryan Williams. That's the only one I'm worried about.
This portal thing could get tricky.
I know a good number of Auburn people, and so take this with a grain of salt. But everybody's like, Ryan Williams is going to Oregon. They're making it up. They're wish casting it to happen is what's going on. But Auburn fans like, yeah, Ryan Williams was getting the portal. He's not happy.
Yeah, I heard he was boarding a plane to West Lafayette. I mean, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Boiler up. He saw that Rondell Moore tape, and he's like, "That's where I need to be." Big man.
Rondell Moore was so good in college football. My goodness.
If he was healthy, he could have been pretty good in the NFL.
Was the source on that Ryan Williams beat? Was that baby Gronk?
No,
Yeah.
no, it was somebody in my professional network. I'll put it like that.
Oh, baby Gronk.
Was it Chris?
Like I said, I don't believe it because of where it came from, as far as where it's
So
the
Spencer
Auburn.
McLaughlin?
No, Spencer's the guy that comes on there will tell you all about Boise State and Wyoming on the SEC Squad show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
We got
into a weird argument about the Big Ten and the SEC last night. So
it's not really an argument. SEC trumps that big time.
Listen, I think if we want to talk about this, I think that Oregon would give some SEC teams a lot of problems. Ohio State would do it.
That's about it.
That's about where it stops.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State struggled against Minnesota. They should have lost that game.
Penn State got beat by 4 touchdowns to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Like that was, I mean,
it was not close.
No, it wasn't.
And this is a worse Penn State team this year and a better Ole Miss team this year.
Mm-hmm.
And look at where Ole Miss is in the conference versus Penn State. Like
Right.
look at the log jam in the playoff race for this conference. Look at the log jam. Like Indiana, I love Signetti. They hadn't played nobody.
Yeah, they got exposed last Saturday.
I like that. I like how they play. They're fun, but they're just not a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
I have an unpopular take and on this. And everybody says that the SEC needs to change their scheduling model because the Big Ten just has a cakewalk to get through and they're going to host games. But if the Big Ten's as weak as you say, it shouldn't matter if a 9-3 SEC team is traveling to Bloomington, Indiana to play Indiana. You should win that game, and then it gets to a bowl game situation anyway. It doesn't necessarily matter. I still think the SEC needs to go to 9 teams in the conference the way it sits right now. Because if you're better, you're better. It's not about records and stuff like that. If you're better, you're better.
Yeah.
And going to Bloomington, Indiana, or going to, heck, for lack of a better word, Columbus, Ohio, and stuff like that, you should win those games. You just should. And I understand people wanting it as easy as possible. It just shouldn't matter in this situation.
Yeah, I agree.
And Cassidy, he brought up a good point here. Bama and Georgia, yes, are struggling with quarterbacks, but that it's over. After, I think there's going to be some massive changes at the quarterback position for both places, and I know Jake will be very happy with that as well. But Carson Beck, ready for that one to be over, I think.
After the Ole Miss game, all of a sudden Georgia was very public with, was it Juju Lewis from Georgia and Camario Taylor from Mississippi? Very different type quarterbacks than what Carson Beck is. That should tell you what Kirby's thinking about what he wants at that position moving forward, and probably something to keep an eye on. I do think Camario Taylor at Georgia would be scary as hell.
Yeah. I think they still have a chance at Juju because Prime is not going to be at Colorado next year. He's just not.
He's probably going to go to New York Giants.
He's whoever drafts Shador, that's where he's going.
Yep.
Which is probably Dallas. Dallas right now sits at number 2.
Yeah. Jerry Jones would absolutely. It just feels like a hire that he would make.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know about the NFL version of Prime, but
I think the NFL version of Deion Sanders would be better than the college version, if we're going to be honest about
Colorado's still, I mean, that's a tough place to win.
Yeah, he's going to win 9 games in his second year, and a 5-star quarterback committed, and they're getting ready to do some work out there in Boulder right now. And the Big 12 right now is not the strongest one in the world.
Yeah.
And Kenny Dillingham, by the way, props to him at Arizona State. That dude's doing some work right now, man.
He's doing some work on the refs too.
I'll be right back.
All right. So your boy Mike Huseman, when Colorado is searching for a new coach, when Prime goes to the Cowboys, are they going to get Bill Belichick? Is he on the short list? Is Dan Lanning on the short list to go? Ryan Day?
They might get Ryan Day, honestly. If they made an effort to go all out to Ryan Day, they could get him. Ryan Day needs a reset. He needs to go somewhere. I don't know where that is, but yeah, there's a chance to where if Michigan balls up and handles Ohio State again when Ohio State's supposed to win the game, that seat's going to get so freaking hot.
They're 21.5 point favorites.
This is the game where Oklahoma State should name Ohio State should name their score.
And if they somehow lose, which
he'll get fired if they lose.
If they lose, he's gone. You can't lose 4 in a row to Michigan.
Nope.
No.
Like, he's lucky he's there now, truthfully.
Yeah.
But Michigan is trying to play football without an offense, which honestly, you got to respect them for. Yeah.
Bold strategy.
I mean, it's like, hey, Iowa, I like what you're doing there. Let's see that. Let's do that.
I was like, come on, bro. Like, you got to have some sort of offense.
Yeah.
The Big Ten Network should be putting their games in black and white.
Yeah. I joked about before Florida went on their hot streak, I joked about the Florida State game is going to be on Nickelodeon.
Big Ten Network gets see, welcome to Michigan football. See?
Right.
They're going against Illinois and Red Grange.
Exactly.
In other news, the stock market is getting ready to crash.
What is that famous Michigan coach? What is that? The old timey one. I'm not talking about Bo Schembach, but I'm talking about like in the 1920s in the Newt Rockney times. Yates something, maybe.
Coach for who?
Michigan. He's the one that built up what Michigan became. Everybody just kind of rode off of him.
Mm.
Let me ask Uncle Google.
Yeah, Siri here.
Can't do that. I'm not allowed to Google during the show.
No, you're not allowed to Google during the show.
1920s. All right, let's see. It is.
I want to say Yogi Berra.
It's either.
Is it Field Yates? No.
Fielding Yost.
Fielding Yost. That was his name. If you watch the Rights of Autumn documentary, there's a nice little segment about him.
Yeah. Fielding Yost. Yeah. He's got a squad ready to go for the 1927.
I think he was the coach whenever Red Grange for Illinois had his day.
We're
like 1928 football after dark now. I don't know.
Yeah, see, he'll never take me alive.
That could be some good fun.
Yeah, that would be.
All right, who's getting the call?
I don't know. Yeah, pick up their phone.
Yeah, that's me. Sorry.
Good.
Some people don't remember I'm on a show.
Jeez. Even you. No, okay.
Mhm.
No, yeah, it's a log jam, guys. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Fun. We're having fun, okay? We're having fun.
It's like the Petey thing from Remember the Titans, where he's talking about this is fun,
Zero
and at the end,
fun.
it's zero fun, sir.
Real fun, sir.
We're having fun now.
All right.
Yeah, this is I have a feeling I have a feeling Steve Willis style. I have a feeling South Carolina is going to absolutely destroy Clemson.
I don't. I think it's going to be 31-27 or something like that.
I
I do think they're going to win.
don't
But
know that Clemson can stop Rocket Sanders. I don't know that they can block Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart.
I don't think they can either, but that crowd is going to give a freshman quarterback. That game's going to be a little bit heavy for Lenore Sellers in the first time doing it. So if Clemson can get off to a good start, it's going to be difficult for Lenore Sellers.
If they get off to a good start, yeah.
But the quarterback, Kay Klubnik, he's balling right now, man.
He's balling, but I don't know. I just have a weird feeling. Like
Without Klubnik or whatever, however you pronounce his name, Clemson's a 5-6 win team.
yeah, I have a sneak like their offensive line is a little bit suspect, but Klubnik's balling. But I just have an odd feeling.
He's awesome. I think did he go to the Army game? Is that where he went?
Believe so.
Yeah. I remember seeing him as like, okay, well, this is another one. Of course, the biggest miss that I ever had in my recruiting career, by the way, was I was not impressed with Trevor Lawrence when I saw him. The whole time, just constantly this guy at Clemson is going to do nothing. And then all of a sudden he wins 2 national titles or something like that. I was like, okay.
Weren't we like that with Marcus Lattimore too?
Maybe. Do you remember how much, Corey, we were in love with Lake Seastrunk?
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, it was
my
Lake Seastrunk was like the greatest thing.
Oh, yeah. It's the
Gold
point wherever
Defiant,
we were going to get people on his highlights because like, we got new Lake Seastrunk. It just dropped.
Yeah.
You know?
Morgan Moses too, which he's paid out. He's still playing in the NFL, but I remember him like that was probably one of the most impressive.
Dylan Moses is an 8th grader. We did that one too.
Yeah, Dylan Moses, Morgan Moses. Sony Michelle is an 8th grader. That one was pretty impressive.
Leonard Fournette. We had a good time with young Leonard Fournette.
We did. We did.
And Jake is back. All
yeah,
right.
I can't believe Trevor Lawrence didn't impress you at all. I was
Sorry.
His Army Bowl was just not. That was the Army Bowl that Shea Patterson was in and got the MVP of. That was that Army Bowl, and Trevor Lawrence didn't look good. He just didn't look good.
He probably wasn't. Honestly, he probably was just exhausted.
Yeah. Basically, on these All-Star games, I've kind of changed the way I look at them and like the actual game. The game's not important. It doesn't matter what stats or what numbers gets put up. You have to go and see the attributes during the week, and that's all that matters in those games.
Yeah, like it's the one-on-ones. It's how they move. It's what they how they mingle.
Honestly, just talking to them as well, because you can tell, because if they have a not good attitude and they're obviously there's some kind of an ego thing there. You could tell that right away. Like when I went to the Under Armour game and Cormani McClain was at the game, and he was like the number 1 cornerback in the country. He was committed to Colorado, he was committed at Miami at that point, and there was rumors that he was going to flip to Colorado and all that. He's like, I will not talk to the media. And then he just went and stood in front of the picture thing so people could take pictures of him, but they couldn't talk to him. And whenever that happened, you're like, okay, I know this guy is going to be problematic at the next level.
No. He was pretty chill.
Just sitting here like,
yeah.
Like, okay.
Speaking of chill, you know what time it is.
Yeah.
Picks.
We got 10 games, and we don't have any like cupcakes this week, so we gotta get to all of them.
Oh.
Rivalry week.
Where's the cupcakes?
I said there wasn't any cupcakes this week.
Oh, Ole Miss has a cupcake.
Oh.
Yeah, well.
Oh.
Auburn has a cupcake. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
So does Georgia Tech.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so does Vandy.
Steve, how about you just calling me out on the squad show?
Oh yeah, you sit here trying to talk up Buster Faulkner as if you're not his cousin.
Right.
It's like, come on.
Well,
we need to be open and honest about that.
He is a good coordinator, but
he's a very good coordinator.
He's on some lists.
Wish Alabama had him.
He's on some lists. Some lists that he'll never go to, like Wisconsin and Oklahoma, Florida at one point. He'll never go to those places, but unless they offer him like $2 million. Anyway, our first game. Speaking of cupcakes, Ole Miss hosting Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl, 26.5-point favorites. Steve.
Well, this is a game that is very interesting for Ole Miss, and the selection committee did Ole Miss a huge favor by putting them where they did, because if Ole Miss was 15th and they were behind South Carolina, there was probably not much of a path moving forward. You'd have a bunch of very uninterested people. The buy-in would be at a record low. But since Ole Miss has a shot, albeit a thin one, it was a thin shot, but it is a shot, and you can see a direct path to the playoffs. Ole Miss is probably going to be locked in this game, and they're going to cover the 26.5. I had Jake Wimberly on my show this week. He covers Mississippi State for Central Mississippi 105.9 ESPN radio, and he said that in this game, if Ole Miss is locked in, they can name their score. That's what they say. They are down hard right now in Starkville. Ole Miss should win this game by as much as they want to win, unless they let States in it. If this is a close game, it is Ole Miss, not Mississippi State, that is to blame.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is going to have to really try to lose and even really try to keep Mississippi State in this game. Otherwise, I think they can just roll out there and blow them out. I know that seems bold, but I'm taking Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah, and I definitely think Ole Miss is going to win. This 26.5 points gives me a little bit of pause, though, just because we haven't been good about covering spreads so far that are that big in the SEC this season. Nobody has, really. But at Mississippi State, as bad as they are, they find ways to score points in every game. So, I mean, that means Ole Miss is going to have to score a lot. But I feel like I'm kind of with Steve. I feel like Ole Miss is going to be kind of mad and angry in this game. They're going to come out and be dialed in. And I'm going to take Ole Miss to cover that spread.
Ole Miss is no doubt by far the better team in this matchup, but this is the Egg Bowl, and I've seen weird stuff in the Egg Bowl. I mean, we had the leg, peeing thing, and then I think last year it was twice, and I think last year was really close too. But it's just a weird game for Ole Miss, and like Steve said though, if they're locked in, they can name their score. But again, it's the Egg Bowl; it could get weird. So I think Mississippi State can cover, but Ole Miss is going to win probably by at least 21 or so.
Becky is taking Mississippi State just because she thinks that Ole Miss is going to have a hard time bouncing back from that Florida game. She thinks there's going to be a little bit of a hangover, which I can't blame her, but that's what she believes.
Cassidy is taking Ole Miss.
All right, boss man.
Hammer's going with Becky. He thinks Mississippi State's going to be able to cover this. I think probably just because what you said, Jake, that the spread is big, and also that this is a weird game. It's the Egg Bowl. Mm-hmm. Stuff gets weird in the Egg Bowl. I'm taking Ole Miss in this game. I know that things can get weird in this game. I understand that, but I feel like Ole Miss is going to be seeing blood after that game against Florida, and it's a rivalry game, so they're going to be up for this game. So and also knowing the fact that Mississippi State's defense is not good, and I think it was Arkansas. Wasn't it Arkansas that put up like 60-something on Mississippi State? So if Arkansas could put up 60-something on Mississippi State, I think Ole Miss can put up 70 if they want to on Mississippi State, and they just might, because Lane might be that pissed off. So I'm taking Ole Miss to win and cover here, even though I'm a little squeamish about the spread, but I think the Rebs get it done.
Yeah, don't be squeamish about this spread. There's other spreads you can be squeamish about. And definitely don't be squeamish about any thread tomorrow during the day. But Georgia hosting Georgia Tech, this one should honestly make you think. It's 20.5, probably will drop a couple of points by game time. It is clean old-fashioned hate. It is clean old-fashioned Black Friday hate for the first time ever. It's on Black Friday in the evening. So Georgia at home. Steve, are they covering?
Georgia is covering this spread, and the reason I say this is simple. the thing that Georgia Tech does the best is run the football. The thing that Georgia does best at stopping is stopping the run. So if he can stop Georgia Tech's run, it's going to be a freshman quarterback in Aaron Philo against that Georgia secondary and Glenn Schumann and Kirby Smart. I think that could be problematic. I think a pick six could happen in this game, and this could be one of those typical Alabama old-style 2012, 2013 games to where it's 31-0 and you have no idea how it got there.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. This is a game where I think you're going to see him dialed in. I think it's tough to judge Georgia on games like last week with UMass where you're just like shaking your head like what's going on? Like, why is UMass? Because I think Georgia's going to close down space on a freshman quarterback, and they're just going to straight get after it. And they know what's at stake here now. And I think they're going to cover. It's going to be a little tricky at first because Georgia Tech's good. They're good on offense, not great on defense. And they're pesky. So you're going to see a little bit of that, and then Georgia's going to pull away and like, okay, enough. And then they're going to do it. So
and they're going to play hard.
They're going to play hard. It's at home, and it's, they know what's at stake now.
Hey, before you say yours, Jeb, I've got to run. We've got to fuss the baby tonight, so y'all can, tell my picks and Cassie's too. So y'all have a good Thanksgiving. I'll be back next week.
All right. Have a good night, man.
See y'all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Jake. Jeb?
I don't want to sound like I haven't been fully researching all these picks, but Haynes King is hurt.
Yeah, Philo's better anyway, I think.
He's a baby.
Philo's just kind of beating him out this season.
Okay, so he's just taking over that job.
Yeah.
Haynes
They
King
still use King, but Philo is the passing option for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Well, King too. He's had a shoulder problem, so that's also part of he can't throw that well anyway because of his shoulder.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
he did too much of this.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick with my pick. I kind of want to go back on it now, but like I said, I don't like these big point spreads. The way things have gone with the SEC, and Georgia Tech is a team that I think can kind of slow a game down a little bit with all their running. So I'm taking Tech and just say that they keep this within the realm of, like 18 points or so. I still think they lose. Georgia's going to win this game, but I'm going to go with Tech to cover that spread.
All right. Jake is taking Tech. Becky is taking Tech. Cassidy is taking UGA, and Hammer is on Georgia Tech.
He is, and so am I. Ramblin' Wreck. I think, Corey, it's kind of what you touched on. Georgia Tech is pesky. And they've got a couple good wins this year. They're a decent team. This is just a big spread to me. It may be a little squeamish looking at that spread. I've been picking against it lately. It got me a couple games last week, and so I'm going to try and pick up another one here this week. I just think Georgia Tech is going to be able to keep it within that 20.5-point spread. I think Georgia gets the win, but give me Georgia Tech to cover.
All righty. So our next game is Louisville at Kentucky. We can go real fast through this. Jake and Cassidy are picking Louisville, and Hammer is on Kentucky. Steve?
Becky's on Louisville as well. I'm taking Kentucky in this game, and the reason that I'm taking this is not for any football reasons or anything like that. It's just that Mark Stoops, for whatever reason, has had Louisville's number. It's been hard for them to beat Kentucky during that time. This game is at the big grocery bag. All of that's going on. I think this might be a situation that Mark Stoops, with a true freshman quarterback, comes out and makes just enough plays and wins the game over the Louisville Cardinals, and not necessarily saves the season, but at least ends it with a better taste in your mouth.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Kentucky, just for whatever reason, this is one of those games where you don't really know, because both teams are just kind of give you mixed signals all season long, where Kentucky was like, hey, they're going to do some things. They beat Ole Miss. And then now they got on quit watch like 2 weeks later after the Vandy game. And then just like, what are we doing here? Like, why? What nobody knows what's happening, is baffled. And then they seem to be, they played Texas very tough, and, moral victories aside, they look like a competent team with a different quarterback. So I think they have a little bit of renewed energy, and I think they're going to take that energy and beat Louisville.
Oh, man, I just haven't seen that from Kentucky. They've had one good game this season. And other than that, they have just not looked good at all.
New quarterback is the only reason I got a little bit of confidence.
And it might work. I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, Louisville to me has just been a better team this season. When they play good teams, they tend to lose. I think they beat Clemson maybe was their one big win of this season. So, if this was a decent team, I'd say no, they're probably going to lose. But Kentucky, I just don't have faith in them right now. I'm going to take Louisville to win this one.
I'm with you, Jeb. I don't have faith in Kentucky right now. And in a matchup like this where, it comes down to a really low spread, I think we're at 3.5 on this one.
Yeah.
I kind of look at the coaching matchup in this one. I think I understand that Kentucky's had Louisville's number under Mark Stoops, but this is only Brian Brom's second year, I believe, at Louisville. I think it's time for him to break through, and I think Brian Brom's a better coach. So 7-4 Louisville against 4-7 Kentucky. It's a rivalry game here. I think Louisville's going to be up for it. I think they're the better team. So give me the Cards.
All right. So here we go. Next game. Jeb, this one is the playoff game for Tennessee. They're 10.5-point favorites coming into Nashville. Looks like Jake is picking the Vols. Looks like Cassidy is picking the Vols. Looks like Hammer is picking the Vols. Steve, are you with them or are you going Vandy?
Becky's also taking the Vols, but I am building my 4-game parlay, and this is one of my 4 games that I need to have happening. And that is the Vanderbilt Commodores taking down the Tennessee Volunteers. Diego Pavia is going to make it happen. It's just hey, we need this to happen. I'm totally picking with my heart this week. Ole Miss needs Tennessee to lose this game to the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Do you really think the host of Locked On Vandy is going to pick any differently in this one? I mean, let's be real about this. No, they do actually have a legit chance at winning outright. Worst case scenario, they cover. I think it's going to be one of those pesky, slow-moving games where Tennessee just has trouble finding their footing because it's an 11 a.m. kick, and it's going to be a weird vibe, and I think it's going to be cold and just kind of a little bit dreary maybe. So it's going to be a weird atmosphere. Give me Vandy.
I just want to point out that I needed Florida to beat Ole Miss last week for Tennessee to get the playoffs, and I still picked Ole Miss because I have it. Now, it turns out Oklahoma whooping Auburn's butt helped too, so I really didn't need Florida as much as I thought. But I didn't need both of them, but that's wonderful. But anyway, that's the point. No, look, I think the Vols have one of the better defenses in the league. The Vols have the best running back in the SEC right now. They're just a better team all around. I don't think Vandy's going to be able to keep up with Tennessee. I do think that it'll be a game that stays close a little bit early on because Tennessee, for some reason, gets off to kind of slow starts. I don't know what that is. Even last week, they didn't score in the first quarter at all. They scored 4 touchdowns in the second quarter, but maybe 5. Anyway, they do that, but Tennessee's going to pull away in this one in the end. I just don't think Vandy's going to be able to keep up. So I'm definitely taking the Vols.
Tennessee wins, but Vandy covers. Taking the Commodores to cover here. Look, we've seen it all year. What does Vandy do? Vandy, this is their bread and butter. They play these good teams, and they just take them by the neck, and they pull them down into the mud with them, and they mud wrestle until the end, and they just hope at the end of it they're the last one standing. And I don't think that they will be the last one standing when it comes down to it in Nashville this weekend. But I've just seen it too many times this year with teams across the SEC and across the country. Vanderbilt plays teams really close. And Tennessee's offense, I've watched it now for however many games, right? Like, they're just not as good as we think that they are or that we thought they would be at the start of the season. And so I think that there's a real opportunity there for Vanderbilt to potentially go in and win this game. But I do think that at the end of the day, there's too much riding on the line for Tennessee. I think Tennessee gets it done. I think it helps Tennessee get into the playoffs. But I think Vandy makes them sweat for it.
You're all off my Christmas card list. Anyway, go ahead.
Was I on there to begin with?
Between Georgia and Vanderbilt, no.
Steve, nobody understood on the squad my joke where I was like, Nico, I am lava. Nailed it. Because I'd never nail it. Like that's
pretty close though.
They're like, actually, you did not nail it. They corrected. They're like, you did not nail that. If you know, I nailed that.
Right. Wrong crowd.
Yeah, wrong crowd. Sometimes your jokes just don't hit the same.
No.
It's okay. You win some, you lose some. But yeah, so our next game on the list is going to feature Jake's Alabama Crimson Tide, who are 11.5-point favorites, and they host Auburn in the Iron Bowl. Jake he's saying War Eagle. Cassidy is holding strong with Bama. And it looks like Hammer is saying War Eagle. Steve, are you in the War Eagle camp or are you roll tiding?
Becky is roll tiding. I am on my second game of the 4-game parlay going with the Auburn Tigers in this game. And that is because I think they're just rolling right now as belief of what's going on. The freshman groups that are at Auburn right now, they're talking. They're absolutely doing it. They are at the point where they're just right there. And if Alabama can't beat them this year, they could be in some problems in the near future with Auburn because they're recruiting the lights out right now as well. But give me the Auburn Tigers to win outright.
Yeah, I'm going to say War Eagle, but I'm not necessarily going to be as bold as to call an outright win here. And a lot of it has to do with the quarterback position. I think Peyton Thorne is probably one of the most frustrating.
Peyton Thorne has better numbers than Jalen Milroe.
It's odd, yes, but he's one of the most inconsistent and frustrating quarterbacks that I've ever watched. He has a tendency, early season version of him might come out on the road. He has a tendency to cough it up or deliver it to the other team. So I think if they can avoid that, I think if they give a steady dose of Jarquez Hunter, they have a chance. I do think they keep it tight because they're on a heater. I don't know that if they finish the way they finished against A&M, I don't think that is going to be the same result. As you know, they had A&M on the mat, they let them up, and A&M should have beat them, didn't. But I think Alabama will finish them off if they allow them to. But I'm taking Auburn to cover.
I cannot believe between all of us, even Jake, even Rick and Bonnie in the comments, how am I the only person talking about Alabama? This is making me feel bad, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all,
man.
It's just that Becky's picking Alabama.
Yeah, but she always picks the ones that the underdogs.
She's third. She is third from the bottom right now.
That's true. She's jumping up a little bit, but. So maybe
she passed Jake to the points that Jake just didn't want to make picks anymore.
Jake's been on quit watch for weeks.
Yeah,
yeah, really. Look, we know the Iron Bowl can be wild, but I feel like this is one of those years where this is a year that Auburn now feels like they can win it. This is going to be a year Alabama just beats them. It's not at Jordan O'Hare where the curses lie, so it's in Alabama. I honestly think Alabama is just going to come out, have a good game. It's going to look good this week. They're so up and down. They are the definition of bipolar when it comes to football right now, at least in the SEC, because they will beat good teams and then they will lose for no reason whatsoever and then win and then lose. They're back and forth. They just had a terrible game. I'm going to take Alabama to have a bounce back game this week and look good and cover.
I understand that, Jeb. I have no idea what to expect from Alabama. They're Jekyll and Hyde this year. Completely. It's 1 week they look great and they beat, they whip Georgia in the first half, right? And then hang on to win that game. They absolutely kick LSU in the teeth, and then they lose to, we get we have 3 losses on the year, and we're staring at potentially a fourth with your rival here on the line and a couple of bad losses and almost losing to South Carolina as well. So I really just don't know what to expect from Alabama here. However, we have a large sample size from Auburn, and that large sample size says that they shoot themselves in the foot and they don't win games, at least this year, except for last week against Texas A&M. So, put my tail between my legs and walk out of here. But so in this one, I think that they really try to unleash Jalen Milroe's legs. I think Auburn has a top 6 defense in the SEC in terms of rushing, but they have to get him going on the ground if they've got any chance to really win this game. I also think I'm taking Auburn here to cover the spread, because the Iron Bowl, as we've seen in years previous, Alabama's had the way better team, right? And somehow Auburn has them on the ropes, and Bama wins by 1, or Bama has the whatever 4th and 31 it was, or whatever last year to win the game. So these teams are more evenly matched this year, and I just expect this game to get crazy and weird. I do think Alabama wins the game, but especially because it's at home this year. But with Auburn playing as well, with Auburn having the confidence, I think that it's going to be a really close game. And I thought that was a really big spread coming out of Vegas. So I expect Auburn to cover, but give me the Tide to win.
I was surprised by that spread.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked too. I was like, what the hell? All right, Arkansas at Missouri. We can be quick with this one. Looks like all of us except Jake are on Mizzou. Well, Boss Man, looks like you're Arkansas. So why Arkansas?
I'm just sick of hearing Eli Drinkwitz talk. You know,
Yeah. I get it.
people, you know,
Hey, Mississippi State, shut the up.
Yeah,
We're going to score.
Exactly. Hammer loves it, and I get it. It's fun. He has a lot of fun. But now he's saying Talon Green when everyone knows his name is Talon Green. He's just being a jerk about it. And so I'm kind of sick of it. And I really want Sam Pittman to get a win. I want Sam Pittman to get another year there in Arkansas. And if he gets blown out by Missouri, he probably won't. So give me.
I don't think he's back either way. By the way, I think he retires.
I know.
Yeah,
that could be.
Yeah, he could retire. But yeah. I think Mizzou's just. I think Arkansas is in a weird place. I think Mizzou's. It's a 3.5 point spread. If it was any more, I'd go with Arkansas. But I just think Mizzou. I think Luther Burns going to make too many plays because he's trying to put some NFL film up. But yeah, it's going to be. Yeah.
Brady Cook's last game makes it tough too. That kid's a leader. He's a baller. But give me Arkansas. I'm in the fields.
Anybody else want to add anything about Missouri?
Nope.
No. All right.
No.
Oklahoma at LSU. Rivalry weekend, baby. A rekindled rivalry between Oklahoma and LSU that I didn't know existed. LSU's 5.5 point.
LSU's wearing trash uniforms again.
Are they wearing?
Those were terrible last week.
Are they wearing the XFL? Or are they wearing the AA? The AA.
They're white helmets, purple jerseys, white pants.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
They're going to look like the Alliance of American Football Association uniforms.
Yeah, the Arizona Lumberjacks or whoever it was.
Yeah, the league that lasted 3 weeks. Anyway, are you picking Oklahoma, Steve, or are you going LSU?
I am picking Oklahoma in this game, and my reason is simple. I do think that LSU is still teetering on that quit watch they already have, but they have a trouble stopping running quarterbacks. And Jackson Arnold proved a week ago that he can be a running quarterback and that Oklahoma would run the quarterback. So I'm taking Oklahoma in this game, and they're just going to continue to get right. So good for Brent Venables, good for Jackson Arnold, as Oklahoma seems to be putting it together right now.
Yeah, good point on that. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I've been back and forth. Oklahoma is where I'm going with this because they're playing really well right now. No offense, Jake, but no offense, Bama people, but they are playing really good. They're starting to get some people healthy. They've got something figured out with Joe John Finley. So maybe there's something there. So give me the Sooners. They can finish it out.
Yeah, I like that they're getting better, but I still don't buy it just from one big win. They did have a great game against Alabama, but Alabama had a terrible game. So I'm not sure how much of that was Oklahoma. LSU they're a middle of the road SEC team. You know, they can beat people. They could end up losing this. There's just no way to really know. But I like LSU a little better. They look good against Vanderbilt this past week. Well, at least one. Didn't start off great, but that's all right. I just think LSU is going to end up winning this game. When I look at these two teams side to side, I just feel like they're a better team right now.
Yeah, it feels like a toss-up game to me here. I feel like Oklahoma's playing a little bit better. They're riding high with some confidence after that Alabama win. But I think that LSU is still slightly the better team here. And with it being at home in Tiger Stadium, I'll take LSU to win and to cover since it's a low spread.
Okay. And then looks like Jake is going LSU. Cassidy is going LSU as well. And Hammer is going Oklahoma.
Yep. Becky's going LSU as well.
Yeah.
All right, our next game, Texas minus 6.5 on the road.
Let's save that one for the last one.
And we'll save that for the last one because we're going to pick Florida State. Florida, 14.5-point favorites now at Florida State. Good Lord, where's that rivalry gone? Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Florida. Florida State is garbage. The game should be on Nickelodeon. Give me the Gators.
Yeah, I'm with you. DJ Lagways, they can name their number. I think the only one that's on – does anyone want to add anything about Florida?
No, I'm real curious what happened to Florida State this year, but no, that's a whole different discussion. So
DJ Uyunglele
Oh, nailed it.
Program killer.
Don't do that. Yeah. DJ Lagway is the truth. It's crazy that Florida, as a 5 or 6 win team, is a 14.5-point favorite over Florida State. But still, DJ Lagway is that good, and Florida's they're gonna whip them.
Definitely. All right, South Carolina, Clemson. It's a 2.5-point spread. Steve, are you buying it? Are you picking Clemson?
This is the last game of my parlay, other than the Texas versus Texas A&M. This is the next game in the parlay, I should say. I'm taking South Carolina to win, but not much. Not much. They just barely get past the Clemson Tigers, a 31-28 type game, a 24-21 type game. South Carolina will win the game.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more bullish on South Carolina right now. They're just on a different level, and it has nothing to do with Clemson really, because I think Clemson's a good team. They have some holes and some weaknesses that I think South Carolina has the ability to expose, and it's not going to be pretty. I think it's going to be one of those, like, South Carolina is going to try to make a statement for the playoff. For the playoff committee to consider them. I don't think that they get in with 3 losses, but they're going to make a case, and they're going to make a tough case. And I think that's going to happen with a big win on the road at Death Valley.
No, I agree with you. I think 3 losses is going to knock Clemson out of the playoffs because they've only really played Georgia this season, and they got destroyed by Georgia. So, of course, that was early on, and I could forgive that, but they haven't, like I said, they haven't really played anybody else and still have another loss on their record. I think South Carolina is just pulling it together at the right time. So, I do think this game will be close because Clemson's still a good team, even if they haven't really played anybody yet. It's kind of like Texas. They're good. You just haven't seen it. But I'm going to take South Carolina to actually win this one.
All right.
I think these are 2 good football teams. I think they're probably pretty evenly matched, frankly, in terms of talent, which is a credit to Shane Beamer in terms of the recruiting that he's done over the past couple of years. And what he's done to build the program there at South Carolina. I think the key stat to me here is Clemson. I think they're 10th in the ACC in rush defense. So translate that over. What would that be in the SEC? It would be dog crap is what it would be. It'd be terrible. So
crap.
It would be dog crap. So South Carolina right now, they are built to exploit that. They're built to expose that Clemson rush defense. And I think with Lenora Sellers and Rocket Sanders, the way they've been playing the last couple of weeks in the rushing attack, I just think they're going to be able to exploit the Clemson defense and take advantage of that. So not only that, but you also have South Carolina riding high. They've got all the confidence in the world, and they're walking into this game expecting to win it for the first time in a long time, I would say. I don't think that they've expected necessarily to win this game probably since the Spurrier era. Now they've gotten a couple, but it's been a while. So I'm going to take South Carolina here to win. They've got a lot on the line, and I think they get a big win in Clemson.
All righty. It looks like Jake is on Clemson, and Cassidy is on South Carolina.
Becky's on South Carolina as well.
And Hammer is rolling with the Gamecocks. All right. Our last game, last and certainly least, not least, because I'm thinking about Georgia. So Texas is 6.5-point favorites on the road at Kyle Field in what is dubbed the most expensive college football game in the history of expensive college football games. This is a rivalry that's been renewed for 12 years. Texas A&M has done everything to kindle that, rekindle and kindle and keep it going. The hatred they have for the Longhorns. I'm going to start with you, boss man, on this. You're going to set the stage for us on this game. This is kind of where you're at. Tell me about it. What's happening?
Love it. I was at the game in 2011, the last game that Justin Tucker kicked the ball to kick our tails into the SEC and give us a loss on our way out. So that bad taste is still in my mouth, and I know it's in a lot of Aggies' mouths, and we're sick and tired of hearing of it. And we're a little pissed off that little brother had to follow us over to the SEC. We kind of thought we were done with him, and we were sick of it. We'd gone our own ways. But anyway, I'm glad to have the rivalry back. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a lot of Texas family as well as Aggies. So it's a great thing that this rivalry is back. Kyle Field is going to be an absolutely unbelievable environment, one of the best environments you will ever see. I'm sad I'm not going to get to be there in Kyle Field for the game, but I got a lot of friends going, so I'm looking forward to living vicariously through them. As far as the game goes, I really think that a couple things are important. A&M has gotten off to terrible starts the past couple of games. They've gotten down 21-0 against South Carolina, against Auburn, and they've been able to come back. Against this Texas team, you are not going to be able to do that. This Texas defense is way too good. So you're going to have to earn every single point you get from this Texas defense. And on the opposite side, you can't allow Texas to start fast. So those are two big things that have to happen if you're the Aggies. I really am interested to see if Texas can handle this environment. They haven't really had to do this all year. Now, they had one game or two games last year where they had to handle tough environments. But this, I think, the biggest two road games of the year put it at like 102,000 or something. There's going to be 106,000 in Kyle Field on Saturday night. And that place is going to be absolutely rocking. Quinn Ewers has had turnover struggles. They've struggled scoring the ball at times this year as well. So my expectation is with this game being at Kyle Field, with the atmosphere that it's going to be, I think this is going to be a rock fight from start to finish. I'm taking the Aggies, horns down, gig them, but I'm thinking it's going to be 27-24 type of game, 24-23 type game where it comes down to the last couple minutes.
Nice. Steve, where are you at on that?
I am changing my pick as I've been going back and forth this whole show. I think that Texas is going to win this game. I do think Texas is going to win this game. I don't think that Texas is going to win this game by 6.5 points. And I do think that it's going to be an absolute rock fight. A&M, this is their Super Bowl. They have been wanting this game forever. You could talk me into Texas A&M winning this game, absolutely, and it wouldn't take much for me to get there. But I need Texas to win this game as the last leg of the Ole Miss parlay. So I'm going to go with A&M covering, but Texas winning the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the lines of Steve. I think it's going to be a field goal game regardless, so I'm going to take the points here. But I do think A&M does have a legitimate chance at winning this game because Texas, something's weird about Texas. Like they're really good. Obviously, they're highly ranked. They've won every game they've played, but they haven't been tested. They haven't really been tested. The only game they've been tested in, they got seal clubbed by Georgia. They got doubled up, and this is going to be one of those prove it games for Texas. And I don't know that Quinn Ewers. I think there's a sentiment around Austin that Quinn Ewers just isn't the guy, and I think there's some people that don't believe that, and so we might possibly see that. I like A&M to cover. It's going to be a close rock fight type game. A&M will have a chance to win it at the end.
Man, I'm either going to catch up to Steve this week, or I'm going to fall hopelessly behind down toward the bottom because we're just opposite on everything. Although I will say I'm be rooting for A&M to win this week. That's what I want to happen. I just feel like because that's what I want. And with Texas, because their defense is excellent. Now, they haven't had the level of play that some people like Georgia and A&M have, but their defense is still it's really good. I think Quinn Ewers, who'll be playing, it looks like he's healthy enough. So I think they're going to score enough to just barely cover this out. I'm going to say by anywhere from like 7 to 10 points, it's going to be about their win level. But I think it's going to be a good game throughout the entire way. It's just Texas will kind of pull it out in the end and just get enough to cover.
All righty. And looks like Jake is on Texas. Cassidy is on the Aggies. So
Becky's on the Aggies too.
Yeah, of
House-
course Becky's on the Aggies. There's no way she's picking Texas.
You can guess where Hammer is too.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
on Texas. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. What other games do we need to pick for your 17-game parlay?
Oh, you got Miami needs to get an upset by Syracuse, SMU and Cal. An upset there
go
would
Orange.
probably do them some favor as well. Indiana's and Purdue, they're not losing that game. It's pretty good, but just those SEC games should be enough to propel Ole Miss into the top 11. Like I said, it's a slim chance. It's a 6% chance. Root for it to happen, but do not expect it to happen. Ole Miss is likely going to be in the Royal Iowa Bowl or something like that.
Oh, Syracuse could beat Miami. They're a good team.
Yeah, you can look down on this as like, man, I can see everything. Everything could happen, but the fact that they all need to happen, that's what the problem is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, do y'all want to hear a plot twist before we get out of here?
Sure.
You remember Colby Young at
was
Georgia?
Mhm.
He got arrested for Title IX violations and all that stuff, and he got kicked off the team because he got arrested and was facing jail time. Guess what?
What?
The charges were dismissed. Title IX office cleared him, and he's just one more court date away from probably being reinstated on some bogus charges. How about that?
Man, I'm happy that it's working fast for him then. We had that happen in Tennessee with A.J. Johnson, who got accused of a lot of stuff. He did eventually get cleared, and he went and played in the NFL, but it was years later. I feel bad for him. He missed out on a lot of his time that he could have been playing.
That was back when they still had eligibility
Yeah, well, that's true.
instead of ninth-year college players. Literally, the joke, lots of people go to college for 8 years. Yeah, they're called doctors. That joke, there's a player at Miami this year that went for 9 years of eligibility.
He's on the Van Wilder plan.
Yeah.
He's
They're
on.
called NCAA football players.
In his defense, he's only got, he has 2 ACLs that don't work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he's going to need a wheelchair after college.
Yeah.
And Elijah Holyfield, son of Evander Holyfield, just signed a WWE contract. So he's going pro in something other. No, that is a sport. Never mind.
That's the NCAA commercial. Yes. I see what you did there.
But there, because that doesn't matter anymore because they're all pros anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, 2 minutes.
It's not 2 minutes until Cassidy tells me so.
Well,
Yeah, I think they checked out.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be here for a while, boys. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoy your rivalry week, and most importantly, we hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving. Whatever plans you have tomorrow, please eat too much turkey, eat too much sides. On the next episode, we're going to ask you in the comments, so be prepared to answer this. You got homework. We're going to be prepared to answer what your favorite side dish was, and do you like turkey or do you like the ham? Do you prefer turkey or ham? And we're going to answer those hard-hitting questions. We're going to spend a whole hour on that.
Chicken and dumplings.
No football whatsoever. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Follow Jake Thomas at Tide Talk Live, soon to be Bama After Dark. Just trying to convince him. Follow Jeb whenever he starts reacting to some of these movies and doing some After Dark commentary. And Boss Man and Hammer, Biscuits and SEC Live. Make sure you check that out. If you're missing out, you are truly missing out, but you have time to jump on board. Stephen Willis, despite their best efforts, is still the number one Ole Miss podcast in the podcast universe. Like I said, despite their best efforts. And then, of course, you can check me out. Believe in Georgia Dogs. We just dropped it. Israel and I just dropped a fresh episode today. So go check that out. And make sure you check me out on Locked On Vandy as well. Had a crossover with Eric Kane of Locked On Vols that dropped today, or that's dropping tomorrow, actually. So be sure to check that out as well. So with that being said, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your 4 days of really good football, like Giants and Cowboys, and we'll see you back here next week on SEC After Dark. Go Dogs. Anchor down.
Hotty toddy.
Go Vols.
Saw them off and gig them.
Go Big Orange, and I'm talking about Syracuse.
No. Didn't
I'm so looking forward to that A&M Texas game. Oh, it's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah, I will.
fantastic.